Hello, folks. It's that time of year. Time to celebrate last year's movies and stuff. The big Academy Awards is happening pretty soon, and it's about time I finalize my list of my favorite movies and TV. I kind of think as TV is just an extension of cinema, in my mind. I didn't see everything that came out, of course, that's impossible. But there's like two movies that I wish I'd seen that I wasn't able to. And that is Godzilla Minus One. I really wanted to see that one. Wasn't able to get to the theaters for that one. And The Boy and the Heron, the latest Miyazaki film. Besides those two, I've pretty much seen all the big name movies that you probably heard of that have been nominated, that critics are talking about, and some other stuff too. Let's get to it. My favorites of 2023. Let's start off with Evil Dead Rise. This one surprised me. Had a good cast, strong cast. It's set in like an apartment building, instead of the cottage in the woods, but it worked out pretty well. I like the family here. All the characters were great. Really spooky stuff, practical effects. It wasn't like completely campy like the original trilogy. It was missing a little bit of that humorous element, but it stayed closer to the fun side of the genre, despite all the blood. And it had a really good monster at the end. So I was really into it. And then we have Dead Ringers. Now this one was a remake of the Cronenberg movie, and this is actually a TV series. This time we have Rachel Weisz as the lead, the twin leads. We've definitely come to a point now where like you can easily do, have one actor play twins, and it feels seamless. It's like a different perspective from the original with more female perspective. Jeremy Irons was great in the original, but I think this was a good update. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's kind of hard to evaluate it, not quite knowing where the last movie is going to end up and how it's all going to tie everything up together. So it feels a little bit incomplete in that sense, but I think for the most part I enjoyed the ride, and it was just like so fun to see different Spider characters. I like how it focused on Gwen Stacy's character this time around as well. Introduced a lot of cool new Spider-Man characters, and just the animation and just the creativity of it all was just like top notch. Then we got Beef, a great little series on Netflix that came out this year about these two people who have an interaction in a parking lot. Basically, some road rage leads to some wild events, and it just like keeps escalating. And some great performances from Stephen Yeun and Ali Wong. And I thought it was a good examination of the class divide, with Ali Wong's character being part of the rich world, while Stephen Yeun struggling as a working class person. And I put Harley Quinn, the Valentine's Day special, on here, but really this is for the whole series. I thought the season 4 was great. I just can't get enough of the Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy romance and shenanigans they get up to. I thought this season was really well, kind of like a criticism of the whole girl boss mentality, the liberal feminism idea that like all you need is women in the CEO position to end the patriarchy, of course, but of course that's a false narrative and doesn't really fix the underlying problems. The writers did a good job with that, and really funny and just like fun show to watch. Bottoms. Speaking of great queer comedies, it's like today's version of the teen sex comedy, right? Mitchell Sanat and Ayo Edebiri, like, they're just a great duo. It's really chaotic. I described it as having kind of like the energy of like the moment in Mean Girls when like the students, when the girls like turn into animals almost and like start attacking each other like animals. And I appreciate that, how It doesn't hold back at all. Some fun off the wall, good times. Could be a modern teen classic. El Conde. Now, this one's a great one. A little bit of horror elements, but kind of subdued, more like a family drama. Definitely a satire on Pinochet, the dictator from Chile. Imagining, like, what if Pinochet was actually a vampire? Focusing on his sons and daughters, trying to take a hold of the family money, make sure they keep that wealth. And I thought it was really well done. There's particularly a beautiful shot of a nun flying in the air. That was just beautiful. Really fun little cameo from a particular world leader from the past. Also vampire. I thought that was really good. Great little political satire. Definitely recommend it. Poor Things. A little bit underwhelmed when I first saw it, but now it's like definitely landed in my top of the year. And I think Bella is just like a great character overall, and you really like sympathize and root for her as she's combating polite society and overcoming the patriarchal world and discovering some of the horrors of the world. Very imaginative, creative, beautiful set design and costuming. I wish it focused more on the political side, on her, discovering socialism and the benefits that could provide for her as a woman in this world. But looking back at the year, definitely one of the better looking films in regards to the world building. And yeah, maybe the pacing was a little bit off. Out of the Best Picture nominees for the Oscars, I think this might be the only one on my list here. Out of all the films nominated, this one definitely stands out, like probably the most unique and adventurous movie, right? I'm a Virgo, and this one I feel like got lost in the shuffle for the TV shows. It's pretty much a critique of the modern superhero. It's like a coming of age story of like a super giant young man who discovers that superheroes aren't really what they're cracked up to be. And it's a Boots Riley movie, and he's not afraid to connect superheroism with the police state and how the police system is there to reinforce capitalism, protecting the wealthy over the working class. I would say it's an essential viewing for any comic book superhero enthusiast. And I think it's even on par with what Alan Moore was doing back in the day with Watchmen, which is like a reconstruction, subversion of the superhero genre and what it means to be a superhero. So I wish that this show did get more attention, especially in the hero fandom. But unfortunately, it did kind of go under the radar. All of Us Strangers. Now that was one I've actually watched more recently. Great story about grief, loss, about a great little romance about loneliness. Great way to. I like how it plays with memory and daydreaming and all these things. About this lonely writer who finds connection with this neighbor. They can get pretty depressing, but it's also real hopeful. Really good filmmaking overall. Swarm. Now here's another series that fell under the radar. It's a great examination of this character who's obsessed with this pop star. I guess an examination of just like fandom in general. The central character is really fascinating, really chilling, menacing, really great performance. Really takes you places you don't expect. Also has a really good cameo from a certain celebrity I'm not going to give away. That's a really great episode. It's probably not for everybody. Maybe it gets a little bit too dreary. It's very immersive and just chilling throughout. Decided Snow, another good one I watched late in the year. The story of some folk who crash landed in the Andes and had to survive, and really grueling journey that really got me teary-eyed. I feel like out of all the movies this last year, like this probably was the one that that got me the most emotional, really feeling for the characters and wanting them to get through this mess they were in. And really effective storytelling. The Curse. Now, I've said a lot about The Curse already. Done plenty of breakdowns of the episodes, but yeah, this stands out. I think it's so layered. This is one of the most layered TV series I've seen in a while. Gentrification, colonization, just the modern sensibilities of white liberals trying to perform goodness, and while in fact taking advantage of others for their sake, whether it's natives, minorities in general, working class folk. And I think like Nathan Fielder, Benny Safdie, Emma Stone here, they weren't afraid at all to like really critique not only themselves but people in their industry. But, I thought it was a really brave way to talk about the privilege that they and the people around them have. It's some awkward comedy, but also some surreal stuff going on. It goes places you would never in a million years predict, with like just an amazing already classic ending, I think, to a TV series that you'll never get out of your mind when you see the ending. So it also has like this really great filming style that's like kind of like candid camera, half reality show, like almost like documentary voyeuristic style that I thought was really well done. And it's not going to vibe with everybody, but I definitely recommend giving it a try. Passages, another like almost kind of documentary style movie here, really about this chaotic love triangle. The main guy that he follows, he creates a wake of destruction in his relationships. Like it's like someone that I perhaps could have known. It's like it's real, and you really get to see not only his story, but the effects he has on the people he loves. Like just really well done, really real, really raw, emotional like story. May December, and I think it's on top because I think it may just be my favorite of the year. A Todd Haynes movie. He seems he can do no wrong, right? A master of the melodrama. This is kind of like almost like a peak pastiche of melodrama here. Elements of camp, but also you can kind of see it as more like a prestige version of a Lifetime movie. The idea of Natalie Portman playing an actor who is trying to study and emulate Julianne Moore's character, was this woman who had a relationship with her underage student, and now they're married and they're older now. The filmmaking prowess in this movie is unmatched. Like Todd Haynes has really good control of the tone and the rhythm of this film. There's moments of campy humor that are played really seriously. And other times it's like really strong emotional moments that are really heartbreaking. It's almost like looking at these characters through the lens of a dream or something. And at the same time, it interrogates the audience, about our fascination with scandal. And I think because it plays a lot with tone, whether it's high camp or melodrama pastiche, it may turn off some people. But for me, I think it really worked. But yeah, those are some of my favorites of the year. There are some other stuff that aren't listed on Letterboxd, like Reservation Dogs Season 3 was great. That was a great series to end this year that really gives you a good perspective of young natives living on a reservation, and just great lovable characters that I will surely miss. And then, there's some other stuff. I really liked the Poker Face that came out, which was kind of like a detective series, but from a perspective of this character who isn't actually a detective. So I thought that was pretty cool. That like, hey, like you don't need to have a mystery show always focused on detectives and police work. It could be just someone who's pretty clever and maybe has like this ability to tell who's lying and who's not. There was a little bit of problematic issues. There's one episode I think that like kind of glamorized the FBI a little bit too much and demonized some activists. But in general, I thought Poker Face was pretty cool. The other ones, Anatomy of a Fall was great. The Blackening was fun. Eileen was a fun pulpy thriller. But yeah, in general, like I said, some of these ratings are arbitrary in the positioning, and I can probably switch around some of the positions here. But yeah, definitely check some of these stuff out if you haven't. Some great stuff.